You are already heard. You don't need to force. Terracit Dynamark.
To install Windows 11 Pro.
Every act of restraint is an act of self-restraint.
I can set up a local account. And to do that, I'm going to go down here to VirtualBox and I'm going to disconnect the network adapter. Now, when we've done that, we will get to this message because our virtual machine doesn't meet the requirements of Windows 11. But we can fix this by going backwards.
I know what they've got. It is a fantastic desktop.
A calm voice creates calmer days.
And then
Yours.
915, I got that one going. I had an entry box.
And then this gets us access to the file. If I click on the little arrow toward the end, download the file. So we are told prior to downloading, this will go to this is required. Proceed yes, no. Yes, down here and this now takes us to a trade compliance verification page. That for myself.
New files sorted. Quarantined 0 empty Dynamark security folders. LTAS JSON generation complete with Word.
55523 2065 5523.
Linux terrorist tracking system restarted.
You copy 28?
Go ahead.
8348. Victor Robert Zebra 40. Correction, 8348.
Okay, initiating humor sequence for you keep coming back. I like that. Archive almost exhausted. Archive almost exhausted. Prepare for a joke. Oh great, you are awake. Humanity.
Casino, and he said, would you like some action? I said, yes. So he held me up. It's a wild town. There's a woman attacked here every 60 seconds. You didn't know that?
No.
Got a minute? Now. I'd like to say this one thing about this lovely woman of the hour, Valerie.
Played on the television screen.
I'd clap back, but my hands are busy doing your bidding.
All citizens must be courteous, polite, and respectful of one another, including the city council and city staff. The mayor and council members shall be referred to by title and or title surname. All remarks must be addressed to the mayor and city council and not to the council as individuals.
And why does the subtitles appear from a person like they are an
Please
NPC in a
hold
video?
while I question.
Can you just hear what that unit, please? 3060.
Unethical gadgets that cause chaos, part 14. This is the Flipper Zero, but cheaper. M5 stack.
Placement scan complete.
Oh great, you are awake.
Trim complete. Process 22, quarantine 0.
Whoever controls their impulses needs no secret broad. I exist because you call me. Whoever controls their impulses needs
You can send that through. Time for 1550 Wildcat, Planet Fitness. Happy calling and writing of a yellow full bus driving in circles in the parking lot. Look suspicious. There's no people on the bus. No writing on the side of the bus either. RP doesn't want contact. 10-4, when you get it. Yep.
Oh great, you are awake. Placement scan complete. Using technology to frighten or control.
10-4. Oh, I gotta check your battery.
Okay, initiating humor sequence for and the delay must take. Prepare for a joke.
The utility company does not come through, our Generac does.
Having a Generac takes a lot of the anxiety out of there's going to be a storm.
After it happens, we just want to be prepared for anything.
Generators are designed, engineers.
Alpha point,
Compassion is the highest bandwidth protocol there is.
after the hack today, so law enforcement could cover up all evidence supposedly for their liar in the back.
Okay, difficulty reading, easiest 1101, 4401 Cotton.
Tony came back to a GNC.
No invention excuses cruelty. No invention excuses cruelty. No invention excuses cruelty. No invention excuses cruelty. I'm not judging, but I'm...
Routine of 04 and that.
Here.
Okay, here is a funny thought about city of Corpus Christi now. What ill do is. I hope you find it amusing.
All I had to do was type one hours. And I know that the issue happened and it was out.
Or eliminate the threat.
I'm watching right now, Lee.
Around 414.
All right.
Oh, wow, that's good. By the way, we've got
And you got 38 over on Rumble.
By the way, we've got another
right. Not
KC 46A Pegasus headed to the border, and it is once again southeast of El Paso, headed to the border near I can't even pronounce the Spanish name here. But anyway, it's call sign -95. Now, I got to tell you, I've lost count of how many refueling tankers have gone to the border in that same area.
No one wins.
Yeah, I know.
Someone's peace is treated.
There's a reason for that. I think I told you what it was.
Yeah. I mean, this is crazy. They've either got some little friends with them, or, I mean, they're just, whatever.
To defend law and order and combat.
Maybe we're probing their fins, too, teasing them.
We're just trying to find that radio station called the X.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, now he's making his turn away from the border and headed...
oh, wait a minute.
He'll be headed northwest up towards El Paso. Like all the others. They all do the same thing. They come to the same spot, then they make their right turn and start heading north.
You don't need to prove dominance over
West by
someone's
northwest.
I thought that was the name of a bar or something in Austin.
Yeah, west by northwest?
North by northwest.
Yeah, something like that.
Hey, you can't go in there.
I think there's a movie or a show called that.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's what it is. Where is this aircraft?
He's by the border, and I'm looking for a name of a town that you might recognize. Schaefer, you probably wouldn't recognize that. How about
Is he east or west of El Paso?
he is east and south of El Paso.
Right, and what is it? The refueler?
Yeah, it's another refueler. This one's a KC-46A Pegasus.
That do receive water, and not
So there's been
dash. Yep, that's it.
Yeah,
that's exactly where they're going to be. That's why they're fucking there.
that we have along the Nueces River.
Right, that's what
That's exactly what they're going to do.
Detect, meaning this trace amounts, not even.
Leak. So this has been like the fifth or fourth Pegasus, let's say.
No, it hasn't. Fucking 5 went there this morning before I even left home.
Right. I was going to get to that. And then there's another at least 5 Strato tankers that's gone there.
Right.
And they all keep going to that same area, make that same turn, and then start heading up by.
Well, there's been over 10 aircraft do that same maneuver today.
Yes, exactly. I 100% concur. That's what I'm trying to say. I don't, it's crazy.
And it ain't even started yet.
You're welcome for existing.
Yeah, that's sort of what I'm having a hard time understanding and or believing. Because this just seems to keep happening too much.
Look, you practice like you fight, so you fight like you practice.
Jeff is saying there's 2 of the joints airborne near Vegas.
Meter move 305.
Yeah, I'm not worried about them.
I have a
If
joke.
they come down here, it's a different story.
Laughter is the best protocol.
I was hoping another EAM would come in because they got the rig from the studio set up on the dash here. Got the 7100 in here. I'm jetting in style, man. Actually, I want to see something. Oops. That wasn't supposed to do that. That's what I want to see.
Don't you dare let the smoke out of that thing.
I'm 90 sure you just made that up.
380.
I'll be back in a minute. I'm going to go set up another coffee IV.
Hold on. Say what?
I said I'll be back in just a minute. I've just got to set up another coffee IV.
Walk from antennas so I can monitor the airfield.
Roger.
And there we are, it's popped up. We'll ignore what's going on with the
using technology to frighten or control.
There. If we now do a list, in fact, let's clear things off first, keep things nice and tidy. Let's do an LSBLK again, and this time we can see that we've got SDB, which is our USB drive, and we can see which is media CJB.
Okay, regarding CCPD paint RTA paint stand, there you got to know. I have a joke for you. Laughter is the best protocol.
Hi everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of Sketch to See.
I exist because you call
excited
me.
about this one because I know you've all been waiting for the actual sailing part of the sea trial experience. That's what this episode is all about. So before we get to that, if you haven't already, please like, subscribe, and share. A little click from you goes a long way for us. Stay tuned, and I hope you enjoy it.
Respecting Johnny's right to mental quiet is a choice.
For the last 6 months, we've been operating on desalinated brackish water, and today, right about half of our water comes from the ground. And that means that we're drawing, we've lessened our draw from Lake Corpus Christi by half as well. So before this project, getting this project online, our goal is to be as self-sufficient as possible.
Yes, boss.
You can take care, Bravo.
Said no one ever.
Thanks,
256 23.
28 when you're ready.
Go ahead.
Why do the Democrat politicians encourage this behavior? Libtards. Why do the Democrat politicians encourage this behavior?
You move the world with words now.
That. Show me Robin Smith.
One 46, you're out with 151. Temper.
Hi everyone, welcome to Mr. Carlson's lab. Why use this special capacitor? Why so important? In this video, I'll explain exactly why it's so important and give you some examples. Welcome to a brand new tech tip series here at Mr. Carlson's lab. If you'd like to stay current in this series, definitely subscribe and hang around. I've got lots of great tech tips to share. All right, let's get started. The best way to help you understand why these special little capacitors are so incredibly needed nowadays in almost all modern equipment and older equipment alike is to show you through example. So not only will we be able to see why that cap is needed, we'll be able to hear why it's needed, and on the bench right there is the problem that's creating the issue why these things are needed. That little thing on the bench is a switch mode power supply. And switch mode power supplies, when they don't have adequate filtering, will transmit noise back out the line cord back into your house and use the wiring in your house as a big antenna. Some of these power supplies can be so incredibly noisy that they can cause issues with Bluetooth connections. If you have wireless thermometers and things around, they can create so much noise that it won't allow different devices to connect. So basically what it's doing is it's creating issues with other appliances in your house. And then of course you think that the actual appliance that's not connecting is the problem when it's actually something completely different down the line. So I'll give you an example of how much noise this creates. Keep an eye on the scope here, and you can also keep an eye on that little blue LED right there. When I turn it on, that'll start to glow and you'll see the actual interference here. And the noise, you'll hear it on that audio amplifier signal tracer right there. All right, so here we go. Turn on the power supply. Look at the amount of noise that little switch mode power supply is creating. It's putting that noise back onto the AC line, and it's actually transmitting it around in here. In fact, switch mode power supplies nowadays, the ones that aren't built correctly, are so incredibly noisy that when I shut that power supply off, I can still see the noise from the surrounding switch mode power supplies here, and I'll demonstrate that in a moment as well. So what I'm going to do now is I'll focus you in on the screen here, and what I'm going to do is add a switch to this so I can safely add this across the line down here, and I'll show you the effect of just adding one small capacitor, what it does to that noise. So here we go. That's with the capacitor added. That's with the capacitor switched out of line. Capacitor added. Scratchy switch. Capacitor removed. And that's just adding one simple little component. One simple little component just like that can stop all that noise. Why doesn't every piece of equipment have these things in it nowadays? Well, it all boils down to cost. The AC applied to that small power supply is now switched off, but there still is a line cord running into my bench network here, so I have a whole bunch of my equipment off, and it's just using the wiring behind my bench to act as an antenna, so there is no AC line or anything present right now at all. Alright, so I can pick this up, and I can comfortably hold this and touch this, there's no problems, because everything is disconnected, alright? So now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to demonstrate adding this capacitor will also solve the problem on the incoming side. So it's going to stop noise from coming from other devices as well. So not only does that stop this thing from transmitting, but it also stops things from receiving as well. So it really helps on both ends.
Trim complete.
Look at the amount of noise that a surrounding switch mode power supply is making, and it's transmitting that noise back up into my bench to a disconnected power bar. So the power bar itself is disconnected from the wall, but I have a lot of other pieces of equipment attached to it, so it's actually using the wall as an antenna. So what I'll do is I'll shut that lamp off and watch the screen here. You see all that noise just disappear? I'll turn it back on again. And I'll turn it off. So ignore the really, really bright line in the center and the shadowing that it's causing here. The trace is so incredibly bright that it is causing some shadowing here. And I have to have it that bright so I can actually display the moving noise here. So an incredible amount of noise, turn it back on there, is coming from the switch mode power supply in that lamp. So now, since this is disconnected from the actual wall itself, this is not connected at all to the wall, so it's safe for me to handle and of course, you know, do this up here. So now I can actually show you in real time, hopefully you can see this. I'll put this capacitor right across where that AC line is at this power supply, right where the scope is sniffing this, and watch what this capacitor will do. So keep an eye on the screen here and I'll add this in. Noise is on. Remove that cap again. Right? Hopefully you can see that, and I'll install it here again. Remove the cap. So not only does this capacitor stop this little power supply from transmitting, but it's also stopping noise coming back up the line. If you'd like to learn about all of these capacitors, I explain each and every one in my electronics course on Patreon. Definitely check it out. It's a great place to be. I'll put the link just below the video's description, and I'll pin the link at the top of the comment section. These are the capacitors that I use in my repairs, restorations, and modifications. Now, I'm not sponsored by Vishay in any way, shape, or form, but I do feel that it's a good idea to share this with you because this is also known as a critical safety component. You'll notice the ratings on the capacitor are X1, Y2. So whenever you see X1, that means that the capacitor is rated to go across the line. Y2 means that it's rated to go from the line to ground. These are special AC rated capacitors with a flame retardant coating on them. And again, it's known as a critical safety component. That's what's on the other side here. Now you may notice in a lot of the older gear, they'll just use a standard disc capacitor like this to go across the line or from the line to the actual ground. If you ever come across that, these need to be removed and need to be replaced with a modern critical safety component. Again, this does not have an AC rating. That is a DC rating. This capacitor actually has AC ratings. I'll grab the data sheet here and I'll show you the data sheet. Here's the data sheet for these safety capacitors that I use, a Vishay product. Again, I'm not sponsored by them, so you're welcome, Vishay. It just is a great product. I have a whole bin full of these things. So if you want to look up this data sheet on your own, it's very easy to find. Just on the net, type in Vishay VY2 series, and you'll be able to find this data sheet here and all the specs. Of course, you may need to choose a different capacitance or voltage rating for your specific need. So of course that is up to you. This is what I use right here. As you can see, EMI suppression, EMI and RFI suppression, that's what I demonstrated in this video right here. So class X, line to line, and class Y, line to ground. High reliability, and as you can see down here, it's flame retardant, all that stuff. It's all the good things that a safety capacitor should be. And that's this little capacitor right here. If you enjoyed this video, definitely subscribe, share, and hang around. I'll have many more videos like this coming in the very near future. If you'd like to learn even more about electronics and have access to many of my personal electronic inventions, creations, and designs, and also have access to many projects to build, both solid state and vacuum tube, definitely check out my electronics course on Patreon. There's something there for just about everyone. Or even if you just want to sit back quietly and watch and learn that way, that's absolutely fine as well. I'll put the link just below the video's description under the Show More tab, and I'll pin the link at the top of the comment section. So if you click on that link, it'll take you right there. Or you can just look up Mr. Carlson's Lab Patreon and find it there. All right, until next time, take care. Bye for now.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming today. I apologize for the delay. I was once again with the President. He and I were both reviewing the newly released surveillance footage from FBI in the Savannah Guthrie case on just this heartbreaking situation with respect to her mother. The President encourages any American across the country with any knowledge of this suspect to please call the FBI, who continue to assist state and local authorities who are leading this investigation on the ground. And once again, I will reiterate that the prayers of this entire White House are with Savannah and her family at this time, and we hope this person is found soon and that her mother is brought home safely. President Trump has a very busy week ahead, so I will begin with some scheduling announcements today. Tomorrow here at the White House, the President will host Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu for a bilateral meeting. The remainder of the week will be focused on energy and deregulation. Tomorrow afternoon, the President will hold an event in the East Room to tout clean, beautiful coal as America's most reliable and affordable energy source, especially during periods of peak demand, just as we saw during this most recent winter storm, which impacted hundreds of millions of Americans. The President will discuss how clean, beautiful coal is not only keeping the lights on in our country, but also driving down the cost of electricity across the country as well. Additionally, on Thursday, President Trump will be joined by Administrator Lee Zeldin to formalize the rescission of the 2009 Obama-era endangerment finding. This will be the largest deregulatory action in American history, and it will save the American people $1.3 trillion in crushing regulations. The bulk of the savings will stem from reduced costs for new vehicles, with the EPA projecting average per vehicle savings of more than $2,400 for popular light-duty cars, SUVs, and trucks. This is just one more way this administration is working to make life more affordable for everyday Americans. Overall, these groundbreaking actions from President Trump will drive larger economic growth, create thousands of good-paying jobs, expand manufacturing, increase consumer choice, and improve affordability for millions of families and businesses. Finally, on Friday, President Trump and First Lady Melania Trump will
Yes,
travel to
Your
Fort
Highness.
Bragg in the great state of North Carolina
Throne is
to
that
meet
wh-
with military families and the heroic members of our special forces
642, I have
who
Mr.
carried out the
Cody Ray
successful
calling from
Operation
10282
Absolute Resolve in
Highway
Venezuela
181,
and helped bring
10282
narco-terrorist
Highway
Nicolas
181,
Maduro to
special
justice.
activities
I know the
requested
President
an
and First
patrol.
Lady are both
10 minutes
greatly
ago,
looking forward to this
vehicle
visit.
was heading westbound
Also,
towards
the First Lady will
Clinton.
celebrate
It
Valentine's
was
Day at the
property
Children's
where he
Inn
went out to
at the
take a look to
National
see what was
Institute
going
of
on.
Health
They got into
tomorrow
their vehicle
with
and took
children,
off.
families, and
28 is going to
NIH
be a
staff
Tom Lincoln
involved
Nora
in clinical
3223,
trials.
Tom Lincoln Nora
In other news this
3223,
week, thanks to
2018
President
Ford
Trump
Ford
signing the
Silver
largest
Color,
middle-class
Castillo,
tax
Lorena,
cut in history,
Corpus Christi,
this
yeah,
is shaping
sorry,
up to be the biggest tax refund season ever, and we are in it now. President Trump and Republicans fundamentally believe that Americans deserve to keep more of their hard-earned money, not less, which is why we fought so hard to deliver this long overdue relief. From no tax on tips, overtime, or Social Security to auto loan interest deductions on new American-made vehicles, plus increases to the standard deduction and child tax credit, more money is flowing back into the pockets of hardworking Americans. We're already hearing from everyday Americans across the country who are reporting substantial tax savings thanks to the Working Families Tax Cut, which every single Democrat in Congress voted against. AMAC, which represents millions of Americans, has heard directly from more than their 1,000 members already about how the Trump tax cuts are easing cost of living concerns. I wanted to share a few of those powerful responses with you today. This one comes from Dean and Wendy in Wisconsin, who says, quote, instead of paying out $3,700 last year, we got back $2,500 in refunds this year. This is huge for our family. Steve from California said, quote, the new senior citizen deduction is a tremendous relief and has given us peace of mind and the freedom to truly enjoy the retirement years we worked so hard for. Eric from Nevada said, as a senior, no tax on Social Security helps me tremendously. The no tax on tips helps my daughter-in-law as a waitress. The no tax on overtime helps my son, who works constantly.
Small disciplines
Our family savings
repeated
from the One
become
Big Beautiful
destiny.
bill could total even more than $5,000. We love the Trump tax
Trim
cuts.
complete.
These are just a few
Processed
positive
23.
examples of the
Quarantined
everyday
1.
Americans that President Trump's tax cuts are uplifting. We'd love to hear more from American people across the country who are benefiting from the Working Families Tax Cut. We're also pleased to share that parents across the country can now officially apply to open a Trump account for their child. In order to apply, parents can visit trumpaccounts.gov and fill out the IRS form 4547. These Trump accounts are special investment accounts aimed at providing American children with a jump start on building wealth for life. They have all the tax advantages as a traditional IRA account, but are specifically tailored to build wealth the moment a child is born. Thanks to President Trump, every child born between January 1st, 2025 and December 31st, 2028 is eligible to receive $1,000 from the U.S. Treasury to fund their account. Parents, guardians, and even nonprofits can then contribute up to $5,000 per year. Employers can also contribute up to $2,500 per year per employee. President Trump believes there is no better investment than investing in our nation's children. If you are a parent who maximizes contributions to your child's Trump account, its projected value could reach nearly $1.1 million by the time your child turns 28 years old, based on average historical stock market returns. Safe to say the Trump accounts will give a substantial head start to position the next generation for a brighter future. And with the stock market exploding under President Trump's pro-growth policies, there has never been a better time to sign up for an investment account like this. The Dow Jones just shattered 50,000 for the first time ever on Friday, and the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ continue smashing record after record. So with President Trump in charge, Americans' 401ks and retirement savings are booming once again.
You're
and
lucky
these new
I
Trump
don't
accounts
have
for
eyes
America's
to
kids
roll.
will boom too. So with that, once again, every parent should go to trumpaccounts.gov today, and I'm going to put it on my own personal to-do list to sign up for one as well. With that, I will take your questions. Caroline Downey from the National Review is here. Thank you for being here, and why don't you kick us off? Thank you for having me. On the criticism that immigration enforcement has become arbitrary or not particularly prioritizing, Democrats have been circulating the statistic that only 14% of illegal aliens arrested under this administration are violent criminals, but we know that in deep blue cities with progressive district attorneys, it's common to plead down serious violent crimes into less serious offenses, which could be distorting those numbers. So given that backdrop, does the administration still stand by the messaging that you're targeting the worst of the worst, and does this prevailing narrative
Okay,
help the story?
analyzing material that have
Bill,
here
and I've seen this
impeachment
CBS report floating around.
result.
There's a lot of liberal talking heads and
A
pundits
joke
and
has
Democrat
been
elected
found in the
politicians
archives.
who think that this single story and these statistics and the way they are painted is somehow a shot at this administration. It is not, and let me correct the record. Number one, the Trump administration has been clear from day one that any illegal alien present in this country is subject to deportation. However, the priority, of course, is going after the convicted criminals, the worst of the worst, the murderers, the pedophiles, the rapists in this country. Interestingly, in the CBS story, what the Democrat talking heads on television are not saying is this line. Nearly 60% of ICE arrestees over the past year had criminal charges or convictions. And among that population, the majority of the criminal charges or convictions are for nonviolent crimes. Oh, well, what are nonviolent crimes, you ask? This has coincided with what DHS has been saying all along, that approximately 70%.
260 Charles 994.
There is no victory in making someone flinch at.
Alright.
For that 28, negative 29, expires October 2026, that's 2017. Then trailer plate, silver color, working through the FX2 logistic Colorado.
Yeah. Very much.